Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you some questions,
Okay.
and then you're gonna answer, and if I interrupt you, it's just because I'm trying to get you to another thing, okay?
Yeah. Why would you interrupt me?
No, just to keep us on pace.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start all the way from the beginning,
That's right.
right at birth.
Where do you want to start?
What is your first memory? Period.
There's a lot of memories.
No, before the Holocaust. When you were a little kid.
Yeah.
What were your first memories when you were a child?
Like, for instance, what?
Like the youngest memory you can think of.
I have memories of my parents. I have memories of my family. I have memories the place I used to live.
So tell me
I
about it.
have memories the things I used to do.
Okay, so tell me about it.
Yeah, but do I have to explain it? What I have to do?
Yeah.
Well, to begin with, my memories, I'm going back to my childhood, I would say. Used to play a lot. Used to go to Cheder.
What is that?
The Jewish school,
Okay.
you know. And also we used to have someone coming into the house, the teachers, because the public school is important. They were anti-Semites.
Mm-hmm.
And when it wasn't easy to go to public school,
So you never went to public school?
I went but my sister did go because she was the oldest.
She was the
She
oldest.
graduated from high school there too. But she had a rough time, going to school up there. But anyway, that's not important. Important thing is, after all that, how this year developed with the Nazis invading.
First, tell me a little bit more. What do you remember about your parents?
Oh, my parents were very good. My mother was, couldn't ask for anything more. My father, I would say, he wasn't a passionate man like my mother was. But usually is, the mother's more passionate. But my father, he was a man who tried to make a living, and support his family and things like that. But as far as memory of my father, he didn't play with the kids too much, let's say that, But my mother was always around.
Mm-hmm. What did your father do? What was his job?
He was making saddles, for the horses.
Okay.
A saddle maker.
Saddle maker.
Yeah.
And did your mother, she was stay at home?
No. My mother, when we were young, of course, she did stay home. As we got older, older, 10, 12, 13 years older, my sister was older than that, she used to have a stand in the market.
Mm.
And the market was like, it fell out on a Tuesday, every week on a Tuesday. And understand, she used to, there, in that market, the Poles, who used to live in the villages, on farms and things like that, they came to the market. They were selling all kinds of things, in the market. Now, in order for my mom to help out in the house, she had a stand and was selling all kinds of things, candy, all kinds of different danishes, which the Poles that came to buy from her. And among other things, I can't remember all them things, but that's what she used to do, my mother.
Nice. Did she like that?
Yeah, she didn't mind that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to make sure it's still taping. If it's good, then we're going to be good the rest of the time. Yeah, we're good. Okay. So, do you remember anything about your uncles or your aunts?
Yeah,
your
I
cousins?
do remember about my uncle. Especially, you see, my mother had my grandfather, from my father's side, the grandparents, they passed away a young age, and then, because I don't remember any, no, I don't remember.
You don't remember them at all?
I never. And from my mother's side, my grandma also passed away, but I was already, I don't, maybe about 7, 8, maybe something. I don't remember, much, but I remember that I barely, didn't remember my grandma. But my grandfather was in the 70s, I think he was like 74 or something. Well, he was a powerful man, very strong man. And at one time, after what I told you, how it started, but before that, I'm jumping ahead of myself, because before that, they surrounded the town, the Nazis, and they were going from house to house, surrounding every Jew. And we had a march that took us to the railroad station. And from there, I don't know where to send them. And I went with my grandfather and my sister. I remember it like now. And my grandfather had a beard, but he didn't want to show the beard so he took a scarf. I remember it like now, and put it around his neck in order to cover up the beard. And what happens, we came to the railroad, and all the railroad cars were jammed up with the people. They couldn't put any more. So they let us go back. So I was safe then already. My grandfather and my sister were safe. We came back to the town. The second time, I told you what happened when I went to...
Don't tell me that yet.
Okay.
Okay. So, was this the uncle that you told me was... Oh, not that. That was your grandfather.
No, I'm going to get to that uncle.
Right.
You want me to get to that uncle first?
Well, what was your favorite thing about your grandfather that you can remember?
Oh, my grandfather.
Did you get along with him or not?
I kept talking about my grandfather all the time, because he was something. And
take your time.
Well, anyway.
Tell me about your grandfather.
Like I said, that man couldn't harm a fly. I mean, he went to the synagogue because he was retired already 3 times a day. And he used to have horses in a wagon, and he used to go from small village from one another. He used to do business, some kind of business. And I remember I used to go with him sometimes.
Did you like that?
Yeah. Well, I can't talk about my grandfather.
You don't want to say anything?
I mean, you don't find too many people like my grandfather.
He was a nice man?
No matter what, if you're a child, sometimes you do things you're not supposed to do, but my grandfather was always on my side.
He always stuck up for you.
Well, anyway, so of course we came back, and then how it started.
Wait, your uncle?
No, I'm going to get to that uncle.
Oh, okay.
Because this year started, my uncle started after that.
Okay.
No, so I was telling before, like they used to send out the Nazis because in the wintertime it used to pile up the snow and things like that. So my father was gone already by then. He was killed.
While you were still home?
Well, yeah, while I was still home.
You knew he was killed?
Because you see, all of a sudden a disease broke out, you know, typhus.
Yeah.
And my father developed this here.
Oh, okay.
So they closed him in a place. We couldn't see him, we couldn't go out, couldn't go in. And then what they did, in order not, in order, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say in order not to spread the disease or things like that, but it wasn't so. So they killed him.
Who's there, the Nazis?
The Nazis. So I was just left. Myself, my younger brother, my older sister, Mom, and my mother. So, of course, it was tough.
Yeah.
To go ahead and to make some kind of money into the house. So, what happens, they used to send out for people to come and clean the snow off the roads. And the people who had the money still, you know, they were on business and things like that, so they didn't want to go. So what they do, they could have sent any replacement, you know. So I went ahead, they would pay me for that, you know, to go to replace them. And I went to replacement. I went away with others too. We shoveled snow. That was like 2-3 miles away from the city. And we heard shooting going on. We didn't know. Then when we got home, there wasn't a Jew left already in the town.
What town was this?
Uh-huh.
What was the town's name?
Krasnik.
Okay.
And
how long was this after your father died?
not too long.
Like weeks?
No, a little longer than that.
Months?
Yeah. I can't remember the exact time. Anyway, anyway, when I came home, we left. So of course we came home with the Gestapo surrounding it, but there wasn't anyone left. And they took us in to the shul, to the temple over there. And we stood overnight over there. And in the morning, they brought us to that camp, Budzin.
How far away was it?
This was, well, I would say maybe about 3 miles, 5 miles, something like that.
You walked there?
Yeah, we walked there. Yeah, of course.
Was it cold?
Yeah, well, that was the least, you know. And
so you went with your mom and your sister?
No. And what happens is, I was there for a while, and one of my uncles came from a small village. He married my mother's sister.
Okay.
They had 2 children. He used to love them too. Anyway, so when all this here happened, he took his wife and the 2 children and went back to that village. And he was sitting out he was sitting out someplace and at night. He used to go around when he used to do business with the Poles. And he used to get some food and everything. All right, so he was there for a while. I didn't know. But anyway, I was in that place where we worked, that place there. And a friend of mine also came from the same town. He says to me, "You know who I saw just now?" I said, "Uncle." I says, "It can't be. You're mistaken." He says to me, "No." He pointed out to the place where he saw him. And I went over there. And I says, "What happened?" He says to me, "One of the Poles told the Nazis when I was sitting out, and another friend of his, a Pole, was saying, 'You better get out because they're going to come to get you.' So there was no place to go, no place to hide. So he took his wife, the 2 children. Oh my God. And he came so far, he came to that place. I was there. And then they sent him to the place where I used to work, and they left the wife and the children in the camp. And what do you think happened? When we came back, they shot his wife and the 2 children. Came back.
You saw it?
I didn't see it, I wasn't, but other people was there, they saw this here.
You were with your uncle when you went back?
Yeah, so I was at the uncle for the longest time. He was with me in that camp. Well, that camp, I'm not finished with that camp. I had another uncle who married also because my grandfather had 7 children, 5 daughters and 2 sons. The 2 sons were in the big city, Warsaw. They were in business. But the 5 daughters were living together, not too far away from each other. So anyway, after this year, I was in that place over there, and he was with me too. And one of my uncles from Warsaw, because he escaped from Warsaw to come to our city. He figures he's going to be safe over there, but that wasn't the case. So he was also in the camp, but he had a trade. He used to make, that's how my father started, with saddles, pocketbooks for ladies, among other things. And he used to do this year, he was living out of the camp in a place, but right next to the camp. And he used to make for the Nazis this year. That's why they let him out, And of course, they treated him a little better than the ones in the camp. But he was entitled each night to come home. That's when they gave out the soup, soup like water. So he came in with a bucket. But he didn't need the soup because, like I said, he had a bit better.
He already ate.
Yeah, where he was, so he got up food. So he came in special with the bucket to get this, and he left it for me and my uncle.
Wow.
So, anyway, in that place over there was a terrible place. So I had another uncle who was there also, who would marry my youngest mother's sister, the youngest one. And he worked with a group out of the camp, but he was in the camp, but during the daytime they used to take him out with a group to grow, I don't know, for the Nazis, tomatoes, all kinds of things. In the field, he used to work over there. And it was an open field. So one of them escaped. There was no place to run, but he did escape and he got caught. So they brought him back to camp. He got caught. And they took the whole group, I don't know how many, 30 of them, something like, and they took this guy who escaped, they got caught, they put him on a rock, and all that group of guys, and the rest of us, had to stay around, surrounded, and watch this here. In other words, to give you a warning. And what happens is they told him to spread his feet apart, and it used to be a rock on the ground, and each one of them had to pick up that rock and hit him in his private place, in his testicles. Of course, it didn't survive. And that incident, oh my God, I don't believe in miracles, but I still say someone looked over me. Even now. Those two big ditches over there, ditches. So, they used to have the art, the places, the art houses, And we thought that that's what those ditches are, those holes what they were digging for, but that wasn't the case. So like I said, my uncle was already in the camp before, but he escaped. So he knew a lot more already. So we marched out, but so they were saying to get all them youngsters to be in one group, they're going to give me easier work to sweep the places and things like that. So I joined up, of course I was a child. So I walked out from that gate one morning, that Oberscharführer is considered like a second lieutenant, that Nazi pipes. And they were kicking out those youngsters. So my uncle says to me, you better get out of there, from that group. Which I did. Now, we marched to that place to work, and then when we came back, we found out they put all the youngsters, in which I used to know a lot of them, most of them, they put them in the ditches, and they had machine guns around them, and they used to shot them into that ditch. Some of them who got shot, they were better off, some of them were buried alive. Because the people who were left in the camp, they had to take all that dirt and put it back in them ditches after they got killed, and after some of them, like I said, was just wounded. They were still alive, they were buried alive. Another incident in that place, we marched out to the gate. I said, I believe in this here so strongly that someone was looking over me and looked over me. Because this here never happened. I had a rash on my face. Next to me, I had a friend of mine who limped. I don't know, he had something with his foot. So that Nazi, the stopper pipes, if he didn't see blood before, when he let the people out to go to that place to work, if he didn't take anyone out, he had to see, every single morning he had to see blood. He was bloodthirsty. So he took me out, and he took the other kid out, and told us to go and back the barracks. So you couldn't help yourself. So you go, stay to the barracks. He had someone to watch us. And someone to watch us, I don't know, they called us a capo. What I mean a capo is there was guys over there, Jewish guys, who they picked to watch things like that. They were responsible. Yeah. So, and then he used to have a habit. After he let all the people out through the gate to go to work, he used to come back to the camp. He used to go and check on the kitchen, you know. So he told this guy to watch it, and he went to the kitchen. You know, I don't believe in miracles, but there's no other way to explain this here. Well, a miracle. He forgot, I'm sure. He walked out of the camp, he came back from the kitchen, he walked out of the camp. And I begged this here guy, let us go. He went out. And he was afraid to take a chance. So he kept us for a while. Finally, he saw he's not coming back to the camp. So he let us go. But that was a sure thing, not 90%, 99%, whoever he took out in the morning, he went to the kitchen, and from the kitchen came back, whoever was there had to be killed. Yeah.
Why did he take you in the back?
Huh?
Why did they pick you and the other person?
That's why I was just telling you, because I had a rash on my face and he was limping.
That was the only reason?
Oh, that's yeah, sure. Of course, he killed people for other reasons too, for no reasons, but this was a good reason for them already. With someone on a rash and have someone limping. What good is that? I mean, well, anyway, like I said, that place, there's a lot of more things to explain, but that would take years, I think. Only this place alone would take years, because like I said, this is the only place I was most of my time, you know.
How long were you there?
I would say about 2 years.
And did you know where your family was at this point? Your
No,
mother?
my family was gone.
You knew this, or you just didn't?
Oh yes, I knew that, because you see there was a place, and they called it Treblinka, and it wasn't even a camp. It was just a death camp. If you went there, you were there. That's it. It wasn't anything to do with to work over there or to do something like this here to survive. No, there wasn't such a thing. If they send you there, you're finished.
And that's where they sent your mother and your sister?
Yes.
And what about your younger brother?
All of them, my whole family.
Except for you?
Yeah. They would accept me because I got finished telling you what happened, how I'm still alive, right. Because when I, like went to shovel that snow and all.
Otherwise you would have been with them?
Yeah, I would be. Oh, sure, I'm on them, of course. Now, I can't, like I said, I can't tell you any detail because there's so many to tell. I mean,
what was the
in the same camp over there.
What was the thing that you remember the most? Something that affected you the most?
Well, I told you this year, and also, there's many times, well, that was nothing, get beaten, a lot and things like that, and starvation.
How often did you eat? How often did you eat?
Well, like I said, we used to come home. They used to give us a portion of bread.
Soup. Bread. This big?
Wasn't much.
For how many people?
For 10 people. And that was not for when you got the CA. That was for the following morning. But of course, I couldn't wait till the following morning. If they gave it to me, I ate it.
Right.
I didn't care what the next day is going to be, because why am I going to save a portion of bread? I don't even know if I'm going to be alive next morning.
Right. Did anybody save it, or they all ate
No,
it?
most of them did.
Why would they save it?
Huh?
Why save it?
No, why save it is right. But most of them ate it, yeah. And what you call in the morning, they used to give it, I don't know, some kind of drink before we went to work.
Like water?
Not water, it was either coffee, I don't know what it was, you know, it wasn't much. And then at night, he used to come home, used to stay in the line to get some soup.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it wasn't much of a soup. Like, I don't know what that soup is made from, but it was like...
Liquid?
Mostly liquid, but there's cut in some... what the hell is this? You know, I don't know what it was. Anyway, when I used to finish that, I tried that one, because I used to take all kinds of chances. I mean, you know, I didn't care. So after I finished, I got on the line again. And if they recognize you, they beat you to death. But I didn't care. I took chances. Sometimes I used to get away with it. Well, anyway, like I said, I'm gonna leave that camp alone, stop. They transferred me from over there to a place in Lublin, the city of Lublin, Majdanek, also a death camp.
How did you get there?
What do you mean how?
Did you walk?
They took us over there.
You walk, or you took a bus?
No, we walked.
How far was it?
How far was it? I would say maybe about, well, it was kilometers over there.
How many hours?
Maybe about 30 miles or something.
Wow. What were you thinking when you left that camp and went to the new
I didn't
camp?
think anything. There wasn't much to thinking.
Did you think it was going to be worse or better, or?
No, you knew that place.
You knew it already?
Oh yeah, we knew that place. And I took all kinds of chances. That's why I kept saying someone was looking over me.
What kind of chances?
Because then used to be, like I said, a death camp over there. They used to be divided in 6 sections.
Mm-hmm.
And the sections was for the people who perished, the clothes, they used to put the clothes away, and they used to put the shoes away in one place, and then they used to take off the rings, and whoever had golden teeth, they used to knock out, they'd go with the teeth, and jewelry, things like that. And they used to send this here to Germany. And so they used to come in with trucks. And we used to put that on the trucks and go into the city, to the railroad station. Now, at the same time, the Poles used to deliver also, they took from the Poles, the farmers, potatoes, weeds, and things like this here. And they used to put it also on the railroad cars to send it to Germany. So, like I said, everything, you couldn't get anything. So the Poles, they used to come and they used to have those big pieces, slices of bread for themselves, you know. They brought along to eat. And if you did take a pair of boots or clothing or something like that, and you threw it down to them, and they exchanged for a piece of bread.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got caught, you were hung. But I didn't care. In fact, I did catch a few of them.
How did they catch them but not you?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I did a lot of things and I don't know why I didn't get caught. I don't know. Yeah, to say, this is not all. I keep forgetting. So from what you call it, from Majdanek, we went to Auschwitz.
How long were you in Majdanek for?
Not a long time.
How long? 6
No,
months?
not a long time.
3 months?
I would say maybe about 6 months or so.
And what do you remember the most from there?
My uncle who was with me, who came from that village, he was with me then, and he got caught. And not that he got caught, they made him take the people to the gas chamber. And it's a miracle, because you see, all those people who used to take the other people to the gas chamber, they themselves, they got killed or shot or the gas chamber. The reason why? Because they didn't want to leave any evidence.
For who?
For the Americans that they ever come in, or you know, for the world.
Right. Did you know he was going when he went?
No, he was still alive.
Oh, he survived?
Yeah, he was lucky because the Russians started coming in, because that was Europe, you know, Poland.
Right.
The Russians started chasing already the Germans. So we went from our city away, and we passed our city. And they leave us rest over there overnight, and it used to be a brick factory.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them from our city escaped that night.
Wow. You didn't try it?
I didn't, and my uncle didn't.
Did you try it?
We marched on the road, and they passed the village where he came from.
Mm-hmm.
And he was telling me, we're going to escape now.
Right.
I says, okay. So he ran off the road, and he ran into a ditch over there, and he ran away.
You didn't follow?
I was following him,
Okay.
and I got caught. And when I got caught, the Gestapo guy was telling me to go back of the line. In the back of the line, I knew already what that means. So when he told me to go back of the line, I went back of the line, and I squeezed myself between them people who were marching also on the road, back forward. And if I would have stayed back of the line, I wouldn't be here today. And he escaped and was liberated from the Russians, my uncle.
That's great.
Yeah. But I had to go still to Auschwitz, and I'm on the smaller places, and then to Bergen-Belsen. That's where I was liberated. Now, at Auschwitz, I told you well, I have to repeat this here, with the people coming out, say, to take showers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
men and women naked
This is in Auschwitz.
in Auschwitz.
But first tell me about your number.
That was in Auschwitz.
But that was before the showers, right? Or at the same time?
Those who got the numbers, those that let go. I mean, not let go, but I'm saying they went to different places.
Right.
Those who didn't get the numbers went straight to the gas chamber.
Did you know when you were getting the number?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Did it hurt?
It's from a needle with
Yeah.
ink, you know. If it hurt. If it didn't hurt, hey,
I'm just
you
wondering.
can help yourself. I mean,
Do you know your number by heart?
yeah.
What is it?
It's 494. No, 8, 18, 4, 92.
Okay.
So, anyway,
So you got to Auschwitz, you went
yeah, I
to the
went to
showers.
Auschwitz, and the Auschwitz also was a short time. That's a lucky thing, otherwise probably wouldn't be alive today.
6 months also?
Huh?
6 months?
No, less than that. Very, very little time, because, like I said, when they came out and they said to me, whoever has a trait to raise their hands. So I saw people raising their hands, older people than me. I says, why can't I raise my hands? I don't know. So I raised my hands. That put me among them people. Those who didn't went to the gas chamber. The reason why they asked us, because, like I said, I came from a place where they used to make wings for the Luftwaffe, for the Air Force, for the Nazi Air Force. They used to make there. So they knew already more or less that them people who come from there, they have a trait. So that's why anyway, so I went to that small place over there from Auschwitz. It was Hannemark. Hanover is a big city, but outside Hanover was Hannemark. They had a big part where they used to make cannons. So they put me down by a machine, a drilling machine, and it had to be the exact size. What the hell did I know about the drilling machine? The exact size. I was only a child. Who the hell knows? Anyway, of course, I didn't make the right size.
Right.
And back of me was a man who came from Belgium, a Jewish man also, but he knew about that. So he says to me, oh, that's bad news for you, he says to me. That's sabotage. So I said to him, what do you want me to do? What should I do? So on the floor, with that cement floor in the factory, they had pipes running underneath the floor, and they had to cover the pipes with small strips of wood, you know. They were heating pipes or something like that. He says to me, take this here, pick up the pieces, and throw it in there, which I did. If I would have gotten caught with this here, I'd be done too. Well, anyway, so I'm going to get done because the other small cancer, the one time the Sunday sword came and they called it Kvartanen. So like in other words, like a vacation, some vacation. The snow was up to here.
Was this the last camp you were in?
No, that was before.
So this was, when was this camp?
Yeah.
When was this? Before Auschwitz, after Auschwitz?
Before I went, no, before, that was after Auschwitz.
After Auschwitz?
Yeah, before.
How old were you?
I was there with someone from our city.
Okay.
And he, you know, the Brit Chayil, you know what the Brit Chayil is?
A Brit Milah?
Beitar.
We're like speaking, what language are we speaking?
No. Now they call this the Likud party.
I don't know.
The Likud party in Israel.
I don't know.
What's his name? The Prime Minister.
Bibi?
Huh?
Netanyahu?
Netanyahu.
What about him?
He belongs to that.
Oh, I don't know it.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
The Likud party.
Okay.
There's a Labour Party over there.
Likud.
Huh?
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, he was a leader. My sister belonged to that club for the war, of course. And he was the leader, you know, very smart man. So I said, so they took us to take showers. And from the showers to the barracks was like a mile. The snow was up to here. And after we came out from the showers, they didn't give us no clothes. Naked. Going from the shower to the barracks without clothes and right after a shower. That man didn't make it. He froze to death.
How many times did you do that? Once?
Hmm?
How many times did you do that?
Only one time, because we didn't stay it too long.
Okay.
Because we sent us from over there, like I said, at that time, you see, I can't remember the exact time, because that time was almost, because we heard that the Americans side shooting the Russian side, the British side, the Russians, you know.
You knew about all of them.
Yeah, but we didn't know where it's coming from or what this year is.
Right. You just heard it.
Because that was like Auschwitz. Auschwitz in Poland, you know. But then, like I said, the transit us from over there to that place, that Hanover, and they put us on open cars, and they had on the open cars railroad, what do you call this? Where the railroads running down, I forgot, the railroad, you know, those steel tracks, railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so long, so they put the long pieces on two railroad cars. Then, if they went to a curve, like this year, at the end, the tracks opened up a little bit, they moved, because, you know, and I got my finger caught, my toe caught, and it chopped up half of my finger. And I was bleeding to death, but you couldn't tell them, because you were afraid. If they would see you bleeding, they got rid of you altogether. So I had something I showed and things like this here up to the round, you know, things like that. And I still have the scars from this year. Well, anyway.
Which toe is it?
Yeah.
Which toe is it?
Huh?
Which toe is it? Which one?
This one over here.
Oh, wow.
See it?
Yeah.
It healed, it was a lot worse than that.
Yeah, I bet. So they never saw you?
Huh?
They never saw your foot?
No. Anyway, the one, I'm going to finish it off because there's so many things to tell, but like I said, it would take me the rest of my life.
Well, I got a few more questions.
Like what?
Did you think you were gonna, did you know if you would survive or not?
No.
Did you think you would survive?
No.
You thought you were gonna die?
No.
No, I'm asking, did you think you were gonna survive the Holocaust?
No, I said.
You thought you were gonna die?
Oh yeah, I thought I was going to die any minute or any day. Because you saw someone now, a minute later you saw the same person getting stretched out, dead.
So then why were you trying so hard to survive?
Well, let me tell you something. In Bern, Belgium, we came in at night over there. And you know how they chop wood in Europe for the winter?
Right.
It was dark. And I saw against the fence, piled up, piles of those chopped up wood for that, you know, lumbers of wood. In the morning, when we got out, I saw dead bodies chopped up. Now also, they were digging 3 big ditches, long ditches, and each one of them had to be like a quarter of a mile, maybe even longer. No one knew what that ditches was for. What happened is, yeah, and they put me in a place, and I remember still the number of Dunbark, number 12. Of course, though it closed, which wasn't too bad. I mean, that was no, but there were so many people squeezed in. One was laying on top of each other.
Wow.
And you couldn't go out at night. You couldn't even go out in the daytime, but especially at night. So what people used to do, you had to go to the bathroom to urinate or to even move your bowels. You made on each other. Because there was no other way. Anyway, to make it short, which there's no way to how to make it short, but anyway, to get done with this here. So, like I said, all them dead bodies, and then the whole shooting already, in which was the British, because I was liberated from the British. And they wanted to get rid of them bodies. Them bodies were laying around there, who knows for how long. So of course they didn't want to leave any, if the British come in to see all them bodies, so they wanted to make sure that there's nothing left over there to show. So they grabbed some of them who still were able to walk, stand on their feet. They couldn't carry them bodies because we were weak ourselves. Mm-hmm. So they gave us straps, ropes, things like that. We used to tie it around by the wrists, or by the ankles, by the feet. We used to drag them bodies to the lake, to them ditches. Now the bodies were so corroded, being so long, pieces came off. So anyway, I knew if I had to do that, I'll be next. So like I said, bodies were laying all over the place. So I went ahead and I hid myself between the dead bodies. So they found out there's a lot of them still alive, and they hide themselves alive to the. So they used to go around. It wasn't a baseball bat, but similar like that, and they used to hit over the head. If you weren't dead, if they hit you over the head, you were dead. And I could, if they come back to this year, I know someone looked over me. And I didn't get hit. So, to make it short, we didn't have anything to eat for a long time because I said they themselves already were running. Because we heard the shooting, from far away, so we knew something is going on. So, anyway, and there was nothing to eat. Now, they had a kitchen over there for the Gestapo, for the guards and everything, and they had a fence around. And they used to, some of them didn't finish it, they used to throw it out. And you weren't allowed to go in there. I went through the fence, I picked up stuff in order to get something. If I would get caught, I'm dead. But I didn't care. And like I said, some of them did get killed. For some reason, I got away with it. That's why I kept going back. That sticks in my mind. I don't know who, but I'm pretty sure that someone, I don't know who, was looking over me. You know, that if they were even liberated. So, the British, they weren't too nice. So they gave us some kind of canned stuff. Was it ham or something like this here? Whoever ate that had diarrhea. They were dying people. There was a wash place over there. We used to go in there, a huge wash place. And it was clogged up or something. And the water was up to here. And you saw people, dead people floating on the top of the water.
This is when the British were there?
That wasn't in Bergen-Belsen.
And when they came to Bergen-Belsen, you knew you were liberated?
Well, yeah, when the British came in, I was liberated because they announced it on the loudspeaker.
So when you heard it on the loudspeaker, how did you feel?
I didn't feel anything because when I was liberated, I weighed 47 pounds. I couldn't go, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything.
You couldn't think?
If I had to go, I had to hold on by the walls. I was like this here.
You felt no sense of relief?
Huh?
You felt no sense of relief?
No, by then I didn't care no more. That's how I felt. So anyway, they gave, so like I said, there was no doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave us that cans of stuff, you know, most of them diarrhea. And some of them died from them. Then there came a doctor from Sweden. One doctor, I don't know how many people we had over there. They announced it on the speaker to stop eating this here stuff.
But were you eating it?
Yeah, and I had diarrhea. To stop me eating all that stuff there. So, I don't know, again, I have to say, oh my God. With the diarrhea, and I didn't think I'm going to get better, but for some reason, I stopped having the diarrhea. So, anyway, there was one doctor, and like I said, he announced on loudspeaker to stop taking that stuff and things like that. And then there came buses from Holland, you know, and they picked up their people who were on the congregation, they brought them back to their country and other places. And then Sweden came here, and they wanted to take me to Sweden, not only me, others too, which others did go, you know, to recuperate it over there in the hospitals and things like that. But I had in mind, even though I was in the kind of condition I was in, but I had in mind, I knew my mother had two sisters in this country.
Yeah. In Sweden or England?
No, in this country. No, I was still in Bergen-Belsen.
In the United States?
Yeah, in the United States.
When did they come here?
Oh, the First World War or something.
Oh, a while ago.
Because when I was a child, I remember my mother used to get mail from them. In fact, they used to send us packages or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. That's who brought me over here. My aunts.
Right. How did you get into contact with them?
I didn't. They looked it up. There used to be a Jewish organization, they called it the Hayas.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew everyone who survived.
Really?
And that's how they found out that I was survived. I'm the only one survived.
So they contacted
me, yes, after I was in and out of the hospitals for a long time.
For how long?
Oh, boy.
Years?
Yeah.
2 years?
Yeah, but like I said, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And,
you were 18? You were 18 years old?
Yeah.
And how much did you weigh?
I told you, when I was liberated, I think I weighed 47 pounds.
And by the time you left,
I couldn't stand on my feet. I mean, you know, it was, because there was nothing to eat.
Right.
But I was lucky anyway. Then they put me into a hospital, right?
Mm.
And there was a Pollock over there, also in the concentration camp. But he wasn't Jewish, he was Pole, you know. And of course he had still family left in Poland. So whoever he had over there, family, they sent him a package with all kinds of goodies. But the doctor told him he can't eat anything. So what did he do? He asked me if I wanted. And I said, sure, I'll accept that. And that's how I survived, because I didn't care. In fact, I was in the hospital, and there were the nurses who took care of us were German nurses, you know. And I asked one of the nurses, listen, you gotta give me something. I know if I don't get something, I'm gonna die. She says, we're not allowed to give you anything. I says, never mind, you're not allowed. Do you have something? So she bought me a German army from the, you know, half a bread. It was stale, but I didn't care, you know. I ate it. Oh boy. And after I got back more or less on my feet, and in that place in Belleville, I was liberated. They had storage places for people who got killed, who passed away, and all this here stuff. Loads of clothing, all kinds of different clothing, things like that. In order for me to survive, me and another guy, and you see, Bergen, Belgium, it was right next to a small village, which those bastards, we went there, and they were living on a short distance away, and they were in the Nile. They didn't know they were saying there was a camp over there, which is impossible. So I used to get them clothing, you know, and walk into the village. I used to exchange with them. Used to give them the clothes. They used to give me eggs, milk, butter, something like that, in order to survive.
how long until you got better, or till you were physically able to do things?
Well, it took me at least 2 years.
2 years?
Yeah.
And then how long after that did you decide you wanted to come to America?
Well, 2 years more.
2 years after that?
Yeah, I was liberated in 45,
Mm-hmm.
and I came here in 49.
So you were 22.
Yeah.
And what did you do the 2 years before you came here?
They didn't do anything.
You just...
Because we used to get from that organization, the Hayas,
Yeah.
used to have a special, what happens is, you see, that's why I left. I didn't like the British, the way they were treating me, not only me, the rest of them, but I figured, you know, like I said, I really take one chance after the other. I mean, I didn't care what's happening. If I die, I die, but I'm going to have to take that chance. So what I did, I used to walk out of the gate, because we used to still live in a military German camp, you know, after we were liberated, they put us in there. And it used to be a British soldier standing by the gate in that pull-up, what I was telling you, they were sending him a fountain pen, you know, and he gave it to me. So when I walked out the gate, that guy took the fountain away from me, and I didn't like that. I said to me, if I have a chance, I'm going to go someplace else. I don't want to be over there, which I did. I picked myself up. I had a right to go any place I want to because they gave everyone free time to go places to look for relatives or things like that, you know. So I went to the American Zone.
How did you get there?
By railroad. It didn't cost me anything. You know, like I said, you were allowed to go.
Where was it?
To travel all over to find, you know, if you had find any family or relatives and things like that.
Where was the American Zone?
Where was the American Zone? The American Zone was the largest zone.
Where was it?
Well, near Frankfurt am Main.
Okay.
A place called Salzan. So I was there for a while.
How long's a while?
I don't know, I mean...
Weeks?
No, more than
months?
that. And then...
You took a boat?
That place got so crowded, you know, because other people came over there too. So when I had the Americans, they called the place Lampertheim, a small little town, you know, Lampertheim. What they did, let's see how many streets, one Birsterstraße, Ludwigstraße, let's see, I think 4 or 5 streets. There used to be houses, you know, residential place, you know. They used to take the Germans out to go to live someplace else, and they used to let us go living in there, you know. So we left Lampertheim, left Salzheim and came to Lampertheim. And I was living with someone else in a house, a private house.
Another guy?
Huh?
A guy?
Yeah.
Did you like him?
Yeah. In fact, he used to do a little business there too, because he was older than I was, and at that time, you know, it was still bad in Germany, you know, and the Germans, the German girls used to run around with the GIs, you know, and the GIs used to, in order to have them girlfriends, they used to bring all kinds of stuff into their houses from the PX, you know, and there was a shortage of cigarettes, Borne Kaffee, that's in German, they call this coffee, but yeah. Borne Kaffee, brown coffee.
Okay.
And among other things, you know. So anyway, this guy, when I was living with in that house, used to go in, used to get the see from the GIs, not the GIs, from the girls. They used to get to see, used to get coffee and cigarettes and things like that, and make some money on the side. And I used to help him out with this year. Like I said, he was older than I was. But we lived there till I came to this country.
And how did you decide, now I want to go?
Oh, it wasn't up to me, because you see, my aunts, when they found out that I survived, I'm the only survivor, they sent papers for me to come. But I wasn't able to, I wasn't in the condition yet to come. So I didn't pay attention. And anyway, it wasn't too bad. I wasn't treated from the Jewish organization. They treated me very nicely, you know, with clothing, food and everything, you know, and they helped me with if any kind of illnesses, you know, and all that stuff. So it wasn't too bad after this years. I figured, why am I going to go over there? And then I was undecided because most of my friends went to Israel.
Oh, they did?
Oh, sure.
How did they decide if they wanted to go to Israel or?
Well, in order to come here, you had to have relatives.
Otherwise you couldn't come.
And some of them didn't have no relatives.
So they went to Israel.
So they went to Israel. Because they used to have, what you call it, Jewish organizations coming around, all them camps in Germany.
And telling people to come to Israel?
Yeah.
Did you want to go to Israel at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you almost went there?
But then they sent me the papers. And they were sending me letters and things like that. They said to me, you know, you're the only survivor. You can't go any place except here. And it's the first time when they sent me the papers, I refused because I still was undecided where I want to go. But then it came a time when they closed up that place already.
Oh, they wouldn't let you come anymore?
No, because most of them, we went different places, you know, like Israel and the United States and things like that. And it was quite a while, you know.
Right.
So they closed up that place, so I had to go. So I came here.
How do you think your life would have been different if you went to Israel?
I don't know.
You ever think about that?
I don't know. I'm probably, I would like it over there too.
Yeah.
I'm not probably, I'm sure I would like it over there. Because, like I said, all my friends was there, and lots of my friends was there, who came from the same city, who was with me in the camps and all that stuff. And also another, you see, not only from my city, but a lot of people came from different cities to our city because they were on that camp, that first camp what I was telling you, Budzin.
Right.
So we got so close, you know, to know each other.
Right.
Even though they weren't from our city, but still we got so friendly with them.
Right.
And some of them also, they, you know, went there and went to Israel.
Have you ever tried to contact them?
No. No. I didn't know what part of Israel, but yeah.
Right. So really, when you come with me for my wedding, that'll be the first time you go to Israel. That's 60 years later.
I know when I came here, and we did, we belonged to a society, you know, from our city, the Krasnike Society. In fact, we used to get together, I think, every month or so. We used to have a meeting, you know, when we used to live in New York City. And we used to do a lot of things, you know. And we also, at one time, we had our shul. I remember even where, 167th Street in Southern Boulevard.
This was where?
In the Bronx.
In the Bronx.
And for holidays, I used to go all the time over there. But then the neighborhood changed. Most of them were blacks and Spanish.
Came in.
So they gave up the temple. Because people moved away from there too, because we used to live not too away from that temple.
Right. Was the shul Orthodox?
Well, Orthodox, if you want to call it.
Well, were men and women separated when they prayed?
No.
They were together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And at this point, I know when you were a kid, you used to go and learn about the Torah. And,
yeah, of course.
And did you get bar mitzvah or no?
Yeah, I got bar mitzvah there.
Right before?
Right before, not too long before.
How long, like weeks, months?
No, I would say a couple months maybe.
Was your dad not around at that point? Or
Yeah.
He was gone?
Yeah.
And then when you came to America, how did you feel about Judaism? How did you feel about God? Because you said you felt like somebody was watching over you, but you also stopped all the stuff that you used to do when you were a kid, Shabbat and all these things.
Yeah.
So what were you feeling about that?
I didn't have any feelings for it. I have to be honest with you.
That's fine.
Because I had to keep going back to my grandfather. You see, my father was a religious person, a nice man, but he wasn't into the way, you know.
Your grandfather was?
Yeah, my grandfather was. And I kept saying, why Why would I want to kill a man like this? Where was God to help him? I mean, he couldn't harm a fly. He was such an honest man.
But you survived.
Huh?
But you survived.
Well, listen, for the longest time, and I still do, I feel guilty. I feel guilty about this, yeah, because I'm saying, I know I was brought up in a house where they believed in God and all that stuff there, but like a child, I wasn't as honest, like, with me, like my grandfather was.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone no one deserved to die or things like that. But when it comes right down to it, if I had to choose, I would choose my grandfather to live over me. But as you see, that wasn't the case. That's why, you know, there's so many things goes through your mind. And it's hard to figure out. It's not easy. Even till this day. And no matter how long I'm going to live, I'm going to still have that in my mind. I could never get that out of my mind.
What was his name?
Shaman.
That was what Mom was named after.
Hmm?
That's Mom's Yiddish.
Yeah. You see, I had, when I came, and I was back on my feet when I came to this country, of course it wasn't easy for me because, you see, I lived at my end. And you know, I wasn't used to ready to take orders because I was taking orders all my life.
Right.
So what happened is, she used to live in the Bronx, you know, on South Boulevard, Leggett Avenue. I remember the street yet. And one Friday night, on South Boulevard, if you go up Friday, there's a park over there. They call it Katona Park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you can't go into that place over there anymore because the neighborhood has changed, you know. But at that time, we used to get together on a Friday night because we used to work during the week. On Friday and Saturday, we used to get together, sit around all night over there, you know. And there used to people come and play music and singing and all this here stuff. It was a lot of fun going on over there.
Nice.
So, of course, I used to get together with them friends what they were survived too. And I used to stay up there, you know, like, I don't know, like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. They didn't give me a key to come into the house.
Mm-hmm.
So of course when I came back and I wanted to get into the house, I had to ring the bell. They didn't like the idea. So I said to myself, if I ever start making any kind of money, I'm getting out of there. Which I did.
Right.
Because there was a neighbor from my aunt living right on the same floor next door. And I asked her because she had grown-up children already, they were out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a big place, a big apartment. So I said to her, would you let me move in and I'll pay you for the room, you know. So she said, yeah, sure, of course. So she gave me a place. There were two older people already. I think I still remember the name, the Schechter was the name, I think. Anyway, I moved in there. They tried even to feed me, not to charge me, but I didn't. I just wanted to have a place where to sleep. So I just lived there for a while. And I couldn't. Then she gave me a key to the house. So I used to go out like Friday nights. I used to get together with my friends and things like that. We didn't do anything wrong. We just stood there in the park and talking, you know. And like I said, people used to come around playing the guitars and playing music and sing Jewish songs and all this here stuff. It used to be a lot of fun. I couldn't wait for that Friday night. So I lived there for a while.
For how long?
Oh, I lived there till I got married, I think. Because your grandma was living right around the corner from that building.
Did you meet her on one of these weekends?
No, what happens is she had two brothers. And not only the two brothers, but the two brothers has a lot of friends, you know. And I used to get to know them. And I used to be friendly with them. And one of the friends, I used to be very friendly with them. His name was Artie. He was like a salesman. He used to sell things. And we used to meet each other every single time Friday, because during the week he was busy. He was some kind of salesman or something. And we used to talk and do things, going to the beach and all them places, you know. And so, and that's how I got to know her, because, like I said, he was friendly with her brothers, and through them, and then I used to go up to the house, you know.
Their house?
Yeah. They used to right around the corner from the building that I used to live.
Walking distance?
Oh, just 2 steps away.
Really?
Yeah.
So,
because I remember the building where I used to live, on the corner, used to be a grocery store, and next to the grocery store was their building where it used to be.
so when was the first time that you met Grandma?
Oh, I used to see her all the time.
But what was the first time you saw her?
I don't remember that. I don't remember.
Did you like her right away, or did it take time?
No, it took a time, because, listen, I was living over there because I was here, I got married in '54. That means I was here 5 years already.
Right. How long did you know her during that time?
At the beginning I didn't know her and I didn't pay attention this year. All I said, I went to see, if I go to some place, I used to go to see my friends over there, you know.
So you didn't care about girls at all?
No, not only that, there used to be a lot of girls and used to come in also to the park too.
And you didn't care?
No, I didn't care. It used to be just go friendly, you know,
right.
That's all. There was nothing serious, nothing doing.
And so did you go on dates with Grandma?
Huh?
Did you go on dates with Grandma?
Then, when we started, yeah.
Yeah. Did you have to ask her brothers if you can hang out with her?
I didn't ask them.
You just did it. Were they happy that you were with their sister?
I don't know, and I don't care. I didn't care. I mean,
okay.
Anyway, I don't know where she, but I didn't care too much for her brothers.
Oh, you didn't like that?
Especially the younger one who passed away.
Why?
He wasn't too friendly, the guy.
Okay.
But I had other American guys over there living in that street over there where I used to be friendly with.
So what did you like about Grandma when you met her? Just tell me.
I didn't know her that much.
But there must have been a reason why you married her and not another girl. What did you like about her when you first met her?
I don't know.
Just say one word, one thing.
I guess I didn't know, I mean...
Did you think she was nice? Did you think she was
yeah,
pretty?
Yeah.
Was she nice to you? Was she funny?
Yeah.
Because she told me that she was a very tough girl back in the day. Was she tough when she met you?
Tough now.
Okay. So you were together for how long before you got married?
It wasn't too long because we got engaged and then,
Like a few months?
no, it took, like I said, probably took maybe a year or so.
Okay. And then you got engaged, and then you got married.
Yeah,
And then how long until you had your first kid, Ivan?
a year later.
A year later. So you had Ivan.
Yeah.
And so how did that feel coming from the Holocaust? You didn't even think you were going to survive.
That's another thing. You see, when I was liberated, and of course, I had all kinds of illness, and I was run down. I mean, it was really, I didn't think I was going to make it. But then, I kept saying, you know, someone put me back on my feet. And when I did, I was only hoping and praying if I have, because I didn't think I wouldn't. You know, if anyone would tell me if, at my age now, at 87, if I'm going to still be around, I would call him a liar. Because I didn't think of it. There's no way in the world I was going to live to 87. So I was hoping, because according to the Jewish tradition, if your family perished, all I wanted to have some children and get the names back.
So they can live on.
Yeah, which I did. So after that, I didn't care no more. If I said, if I lived to 50, and that's good enough for me.
You felt like you did something good.
That's all I was hoping. To get married, have a few children, and bring back the names, and that would be enough for me.
And the 3 names were what?
Well, the names, my father's name, my son is named after my father and after my brother. Because my father's name was Eliezer, so Ivan, and my brother's name was Joseph. So it's with a J,
Right.
just use the first initial.
Right.
So it's Ivan J. And then Ellen, his name after my mother, and my sister, the second middle name,
Chava.
Ellen Beth,
Ellen Bet.
because my sister's name was Bilo. And Sherry was named after my grandfather.
And did you know after Mom that you weren't going to have any more kids? Or you didn't know?
No, we didn't want to. I mean, it wasn't easy for me to work. I used to work on 2 jobs and work. It wasn't. It wasn't easy. I mean, I knew I had a family. I had to support the family. I was doing anything in my power in order to support the family. So I used to do anything, you know. Because at first, I used to live over there, where, like I said, and there was someone living over there where my uncle, you know, the one, moved out of the house. He used to know that man who lived in that building. And that man had a factory, a clothing factory. Now, when I was walking with my uncle in the street, that man, like I said, was friendly with a neighbor and was friendly with my uncle. He says to me, "Who is that youngster?" He says to me, "Well, just came. He's a Holocaust survivor." So he asked him, "What does he do? Does he do anything?" My uncle says, "No, not so far, you know." He says, "Well, why don't you send him to the shop? And I'll give him something to do," which I did.
What'd you do?
I was a sewer, you know, on a sewing machine, making skirts, lady skirts.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I used to work there for a while. And that wasn't enough there for me to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an opening over there. One of the presses, I don't know what happened to him. He didn't come in, or he quit, or things like that. So I asked that man, I said, can I try that? Can I? And if I do, and if I'm able to, can I have that job? He says, well, go ahead. So I did. I tried this year with the press machine. That was a tough job, because not so much in the winter time, but in the summertime, the press machines, it wasn't with a hand pressing machine, it was a press machine with a press. So, in back of the pressing machine, they used to have the boilers for it to put steam into the pressing machine. And there were days, and that was, the shop was in the Bronx on Southern Boulevard. There were days there in the city, and there was no air conditioner there, there was no fans, there wasn't anything. And in the heat over there must have been like 150 degrees.
Wow.
Because I used to take off my shoes.
It was that hot?
No, there was water, sweat running into my shoes. That's how they used to pour down the sweat on me.
Wow.
But I didn't care. The reason why I didn't care, I did care, but I didn't care. I couldn't help myself because I had to make more money.
Right. So how often were you at work? Like from when you, like what was like a typical day?
Oh, I worked every day.
Like from what time?
Oh, and not only that, then, that was in the Bronx, and I was still living in the Bronx. Then, when I moved to Monroe, I was commuting to get to that place.
Back there?
Oh yeah.
How long
and
was
I
that?
used to get up like 3 in the morning.
Oh my God.
And I used to take the bus. They're called the shuttle bus. They used to take that bus and go to the Port Authority in New York, the buses. They used to leave me off over there. Then I used to take the 7th Avenue and go up to the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
So I used, not only that, and then from my house where I used to live, I wasn't living right next to the bus over there.
Mm-hmm.
She used to drive me in.
Grandma?
Yeah, or I used to drive in myself and leave the car in the parking lot over there. So by the time, you know, what I'm trying to say is I used to, in order to get to that place, I used 3 different to commute, you know, the car, the bus, and then the train. That wasn't all. This wasn't tough enough. So they went out of business.
Yeah.
You know. So of course I was without a job. And I belonged to the union. So I was hanging around the union to look for a job for me. Finally there was an opening someplace in Brooklyn. Way out there in Brooklyn. Oh my God. So, so I used to take the bus to the Port Authority. From the Port Authority, I used to take the train. And from the train,